In October 2003, Harvard College student Mark Zuckerberg has the plan to make a site to rate the engaging quality of female Harvard students after his girlfriend Erica Albright parts ways with him in the initial scene at a neighborhood bar after a terrible date where his self-image and abrasiveness draws out the most horrendously awful in him. Throughout a solitary evening, a half-plastered Mark hacks into the datasets of different home lobbies, downloads pictures and names of female students and, involving a calculation for positioning chess players provided by his closest companion Eduardo Saverin, he makes in a couple of hours a site called FaceMash.com, where male students can intelligently pick which of two young ladies introduced at a time is more appealing. Mark is rebuffed with a half-year of scholastic probation after the traffic to the site cuts down pieces of Harvard's computer organization, and he becomes criticized among a large portion of Harvard's female community. Nonetheless, the notoriety of FaceMash and the way that he made it in one evening, while plastered, carries him to the consideration of Cameron Winklevoss and Tyler Winklevoss, indistinguishable twins and individuals from Harvard's paddling group, and their colleague Divya Narendra. Subsequently, he acquires some work working for the Winklevoss twins as the developer of their site, Harvard Connection. Before long, a short time later, Mark moves toward his friend Eduardo and tells him of his thought for what he calls the Facebook, a web-based interpersonal interaction site selective to Harvard College students. He makes sense of this would allow individuals to share individual and social data safely. Eduardo consents to help Mark, giving an expense of $1,000 to assist with beginning the site. Once complete, they appropriate the connection to Eduardo's connections at the Phoenix SK Last Club, and it rapidly becomes famous all through the student body. At the point when they learn of the Facebook, the Winklevoss twins and Narendra accept that Zuckerberg took their thought while at the same time slowing down on their site. Cameron and Divya need to sue Mark for licensed innovation burglary. However, Tyler convinces them they can settle the matter as Harvard noblemen without turning to the courts. Mark later runs into his ex, Erica, who doesn't know about the Facebook's presence since she isn't a Harvard College student. Stung by this, Mark chooses to extend the site to additional schools. Christy, Mark, and Eduardo later revisitation of Mark's room where they frame the construction of the company and their arrangement for pushing ahead. By the spring of 2004, the Facebook fills in prominence, and it grows to different schools in the northeastern US, while the Winklevoss twins and Narendra become angrier at seeing their thought advance without them. Tyler won't sue them, rather blaming Mark for abusing the Harvard Student Code of Conduct. Through their dad's connections, they organize a gathering with Harvard President Larry Summers, who is pretentious and sees no expected worth in either a disciplinary activity or in a claim against the Facebook site itself. Through Christy Lee, presently Eduardo's girlfriend, Eduardo and Mark organize a gathering with Napster co-founder Sean Parker. At the point when Christy, Mark and Eduardo meet Parker at a popular combination cafe in New York City, Eduardo becomes distrustful of the whimsical Parker, noticing his risky individual and expert history. Mark, be that as it may, is dazzled with Parker since he introduced a comparable vision of Facebook. Albeit no arrangements are reached, Parker proposes that they drop the from the Facebook to Facebook make it just. That late spring, Mark moves the company's base of activity to Palo Alto, California at Parker's idea, while Eduardo stays in New York for looking for promoting support. At the point when Eduardo visits from New York, he is maddened to observe that Parker is residing at the house and going with business choices for Facebook. After a contention with Mark, the malicious Eduardo freezes the company's financial balance and gets back to New York. After returning, Christy and Eduardo squabble over his Facebook profile, which actually records him as single. Christy blames Eduardo for undermining her and burns down a scarf he provided for her as a gift. While Eduardo douses the fire, Mark indignantly calls him on the telephone about freezing the Facebook financial balances, and uncovers that they have gotten cash from a private backer through Parker's contacts. Because of Christy's desire, Eduardo cuts off his friendship with her. Eduardo has likewise discovered the arrangement he endorsed with Parker's financial backers permits them to weaken his portion of the company from a third to short of 1/10%, while keeping up with the proprietorship level of any remaining gatherings. He confronts his past friend Mark at his new Facebook office in Midtown L.A. What's more, reports his expectation to sue him. Soon thereafter, Parker, alongside various Facebook understudies, is captured for ownership of cocaine during a party tossed on the event of Facebook's 1 millionth part. It is unequivocally inferred that Mark had secretly warned the police to strike the fraternity house where the party was held and presumably had somebody plant drugs at the party to deliberately have Parker and his assistants captured to eliminate them from the Facebook company. In the last scene, a lesser legal counselor for the protection illuminates Mark they will settle with Eduardo, since the shameful subtleties of Facebook's establishing and Mark's pessimistic character will make a jury exceptionally unsympathetic to him. A few last on-screen texts express that the Winklevoss twins consented to a settlement of $65 million and consented to a non-exposure arrangement. They later proceeded to push in the Beijing Olympics and show up at 6th spot. Eduardo got an obscure settlement and has his name put back on the masthead as Facebook's co-founder. Also, that Facebook currently has 500 million clients in 207 countries and is esteemed at more than $25 billion. In this manner, making Mark Zuckerberg the most youthful, independent, extremely rich person on the planet. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss my next video. You can suggest movies in comments and I might make a video about them.